station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Tonight at 9, tenants at a Maryland apartment building talk to DC News Now after a pregnant woman's decomposing body is found in one of those units. They say they complained about a horrible stench for weeks, and the building did nothing.
Plus, complaints mounting over unfulfilled maintenance requests in a DC school. What parents are calling for tonight.
And all eyes on the skies as the DMV gears up for the first winter storm of the season. Our team of meteorologists is keeping tabs on what could be a dangerous mix of snow, rain, and ice. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us for DC News Now at 9 o'clock. I'm Chris Flanagan.
And I'm Annalisa Gale filling in for Tasmeen Mahfouz. Our top story tonight, that messy winter storm is making its way to the DMV right now.
That's right. A wintry mix is in the forecast for tomorrow night into Thursday, and crews are already getting a head start. In D.C., a snow team is out there right now treating bridges, highways, overpasses, and roads.
And it's a similar scene in Northern Virginia. VDOT trucks are pre-treating major roads with brine, gearing up for what could be a dangerous commute on Thursday.
All right, so VDOT's message tonight, unless you absolutely have to drive on Thursday, just stay home.
It becomes a lot more dangerous. There's no strategy to driving on ice. If you can telework, great. The more room that crews have on the roads to be able to treat the roads, we're better off.
All right, let's go to our expert, Chief Meteorologist Janessa Webb, joining us now.
Janessa, what can we expect?
Yeah, we're dealing with a very robust storm system that continues to really gain energy. Right now, you can see across the deep south, and then the northern edge has a bunch of snow. We do have a severe weather outbreak taking place across Louisiana into Oklahoma City, but the northern side is really going to be impacting our area. Look at all these alerts. They're very expansive across the upper Midwest, and out of a precaution, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana putting in flash flood watches in place. Now here across the DMV, we're under a winter storm watch. That means we are basically watching this storm system develop, and we're taking precautions. Now a warning possibility of that going into place going into tomorrow afternoon. With the robust storm system, I do think that some of these advisories and watches start to expand more into our eastern counties because freezing rain is definitely going to be the primary threat. If you have stepped outside tonight, I mean, this is bitter cold that is taking place, and then you have this northeasterly breeze causing our temperatures, man, to feel like the teens and 20s at this hour. If temperatures stay like this going into tomorrow, Thursday as well, we have a big problem because when that precip starts to enter our area, it will collide with temps like this, and it's going to cause a good amount of ice accumulation. How much ice are we looking at and snow? We'll look at that forecast coming up.
All right, Janessa, thanks. Well, the storm system brought serious damage to the south. This is in Fort Worth, Texas. Look at that. Lightning flashes as a possible tornado swirls through. The National Weather Service has since confirmed at least 5 tornadoes hit North Texas just this morning.
And in Anchorage, Alaska, 2 back-to-back snowstorms canceled school 4 days in a row. Video posted to Twitter showing mounds of snow covering cars and walkways. The storms jumped 3 feet total around the city, and an unprecedented amount there that we're seeing.
New details tonight in a gruesome discovery at a Montgomery County apartment building. Investigators say there were no complaints from neighbors despite a pregnant woman's decomposing body in a unit at the Enclave Apartments. But tonight, other tenants at the White Oak complex told us that's simply not true. Our Montgomery County reporter Cheyenne Corinne has covered this developing story since last week. And Cheyenne, those neighbors told you that they did indeed reach out to management.
They did, Chris, and although police say they didn't receive any complaints from tenants, people who live here at the Enclave apartment say that doesn't mean that no complaints were made about the smell or other safety issues.
I've been putting requests into, everyone really has, but no one has done anything about them.
Leah Kemp moved to the Enclave Apartments in White Oak last year. She says the discovery of a pregnant woman's decomposing body in the complex is disturbing, but also highlights how poorly the building is managed. Police found a 26-year-old pregnant woman's body in a unit on Friday, but they believe she was left there by murder suspect Tori Moore at least a month.
If the police say they didn't receive any complaints, I can believe that, but I would find it hard to believe that the residents didn't complain.
Kim says she's one of the people who live at the enclave who complained, but has an idea of why there are no reports. She showed me screenshots of the resident portal, which said they were launching a new software system.
I think that is crazy because our portal to make requests has been down for 2 months. So even if there were requests, they could have just gone unnoticed or have not been documented.
Both tenants also shared management at the enclave still have yet to notify them that a body was found where they live.
But I did give a call on Monday just to ask if they were going to put out a statement or anything. They told me to contact the local police department, and they weren't going to put anything out about it.
Tressa Welch says she's surprised there's not more of a security presence to help make people who live here feel safe.
This is home for people, and people should feel safe in their homes, and when they don't, it should be of paramount concern to the management.
Now, I also contacted Montgomery County Police about these safety concerns. They say they have responded to calls here at the Enclave Apartments for shootings as well as another possible homicide. Now, Council President Evan Glass, during his last press briefing, he also said that the Department of Housing has been in regular touch with the apartment complex due to tenant concerns. Now, since Friday, I have been trying to reach management here, but I have not heard back. Live in White Oak, I'm Cheyenne Kren for DC News Now.
All right, thanks, Cheyenne. Well, new tonight, we're hearing from parents and teachers who say conditions at a D.C. public school aren't safe for students. It comes after a November audit found D.C.'s Department of General Services is failing to manage work orders. Our Marielle Carbone is live in Northwest Washington now outside of Whittier Elementary School. Marielle, what are you hearing tonight?
Well, teachers, they say the conditions inside these schools are disruptive, from being too hot during summer months to classrooms that are too cold during the winter. In fact, one teacher actually says working inside this building feels like punishment. Staff here tonight, they are calling for some accountability from DC's Department of General Services. Inside the walls of Whittier Elementary School, teachers, students, and staff feel like their issues are ignored.
I'm asking for someone, anyone, to put students and teachers first.
Joshua Wiley is the assistant principal. He says rodents are increasingly a problem. Heating issues linger, and the Department of General Services is not fixing plumbing problems quickly.
3- and 4-year-olds have been learning in classrooms with sewage issues for approximately 50 calendar days.
There have been numerous times in which I informed families to pack extra sweaters to withstand the chill of the classroom.
First grade teacher Melissa Black says it can feel like punishment to work in the Whittier building, and that work orders are often falsely marked as closed before the problems are actually fixed.
If I did my job the way that DGS does theirs, I wouldn't have my job.
Work that has been prioritized will be assessed, scheduled, and completed as soon as possible, contingent upon resources.
Keith Anderson is the director of the Department of General Services. During a hearing Tuesday, he said the agency is working to speed up responses and repairs. Part of that is by standardizing all D.C. public schools, so repairs and routine maintenance, from lighting to HVAC systems, are the same everywhere. As far as falsely closing work orders, the agency says that's not entirely true. Repairs may be listed as complete if initial steps are done, while the agency works on fully completing the repair.
That's work that was actually done, and it was completed. We needed to capture that cost. Well, then there's a next step.
The agency admits it needs to work on its communication. And the Department of General Services often does a blitz over the summer where it goes to various schools and does work and completes work orders in those schools. Today, DGS did say that it will be doing a winter blitz during winter break. That way they can do some of the work and get a lot done and not be disruptive to students who are in the classroom. Reporting live in Northwest D.C. tonight, I'm Marielle Carbone, DC News Now.
Well, a major win tonight for Virginia parents of students with disabilities. A settlement has been reached in a months-long legal dispute over masks. Parents at a dozen schools filed a lawsuit in February when Governor Youngkin issued an executive order dropping a school mask mandate. Now, under the new settlement, families of those students can request their classmates wear masks. And tonight, dozens of Loudoun County parents are sounding off, blasting a school board they say failed their children.
The school board meeting happening just hours after the district's former superintendent was in court. Northern Virginia Bureau reporter Max Marcilla was in that courthouse and is joining us live now outside that board meeting in Ashburn. Max, some parents hope the indictments handed down are just the beginning. Tell us more about that.
That's right. Well, not only indictments, they want more people out of their jobs, from people currently still in the Loudoun County School Administration to nearly everyone on the school board. And despite discussions about potential policy reforms to avoid scenarios such as what happened last year, there were still some very vocal frustrations. One by one, Loudoun County parents approached the mic and delivered harsh messages of disapproval to the school board on Tuesday night. One said their legacy is one of failure. Others called for them to step down.
They should resign.
Why do you say that?
Because everyone that was on that board either had the opportunity to stand up and say something, and I know that one or two have.
More than 70 people signed up to speak at the school board meeting. Before they did, some watched the first discussion among school board members about the recommendations from this 91-page report from a special grand jury investigating the handling of 2 sexual assaults at 2 different schools.
Putting a comprehensive plan would at least help us on a path of building the confidence.
But some parents say confidence can't be rebuilt with this board.
They have not been transparent. They seem to hide things, and I'm glad all of this has come out. I'm glad that the superintendent has been fired, quite frankly.
Former Superintendent Scott Ziegler was in court hours earlier, facing 3 misdemeanor charges stemming from the investigation, as was Public Information Officer Wade Byard, who's on unpaid leave from LCPS. He plans to plead not guilty.
At this point, I can't address any specific charges because neither my attorney nor myself have been given any indication of what I've been alleged to do.
Jess and Scott Smith, the parents of one of the 2 sexual assault victims, were in the courtroom.
This was a day of reckoning.
And later they spoke at the school board meeting. Scott Smith calling for more firings.
Basically, if they just stand there and refuse to resign, they're just hurting our children even further.
Some school board members that they would support releasing the independent review the school district did into those 2 sexual assaults, though no indication if or when that report would be made public. Reporting live in Ashburn, Max Marcilla, DC News Now.
There you have it, a D.C. bar erupting as Argentina soccer fans celebrate the country's World Cup win against Croatia today. The moment caught on camera inside Lunas de Buenos Aires, an Argentinian restaurant in Union Market. Argentina will face either France or Morocco in the World Cup final this Sunday.
So exciting there, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, France hasn't won in almost 40 years.
Morocco.
And then Argentina as well, 40 years. So,
yeah, it's going to
be cool. Good to see.
Well, still to come here on DC News Now at 9, a New York warehouse goes up in flames and collapses. How this fire could wipe out decades of investigative work.
And same-sex couples celebrate the signing of an historic bill into law, what the Respect for Marriage Act does and does not do. You're watching DC News Now at 9, covering the news where you live, from Washington, D.C. to West Virginia. Stick around. We'll be right back with more news and weather right after this.